Silas?
What? What?
You've been shot. You're in a bank robbery. You've been shot. It was your own partner, almost like a brother to you. How do you feel about that?
It sucks. I don't like it. I feel betrayed.
Bang! I shoot Gorman in the back.
No, you don't feel anything because you're dead. You are bleeding out on the floor. Your
How do you feel about being
your
dead?
brother, your like almost father figure runs out the door with all the money, and you're just left there. And you're portrayed on the news as a clown who couldn't pull off the job. That's what happens. Anyways,
Father
guys.
and brother.
Anyways, guys, welcome back to what we like to call the
my
Incoherent podcast. Can you shut up, you sassy ass
That
bitch?
was despicable.
That was just
despicable.
disgusting. Did I just hear someone talk while I was talking? Okay, I have a
Yes,
superiority complex, and I would like to be on top, as always, like my cheesy beef quesarito totem pole, all right?
Well,
Now
I
shut the
also
fuck
ha-
up
well,
while
I
I
have a
can do
God
the
complex,
goddamn
so-
fucking intro.
Okay.
Anyways, guys, yeah, I know. It's been like, 2 months since we last recorded a podcast? It's been a little rough. We've all been busy. It's all been hectic. So we'll
Turn
start off where we left
notifications
off. Skipping Silas and going straight to Leo. How have you been doing, man?
I've been doing all right.
Yeah? You want to give anything more, more emphasis on what you've been doing?
What have I been doing? Well, this podcast, we're running about an hour late because this guy couldn't get his mic to connect.
Grandpa
mode. Sometimes I feel stupid using computers, and then I realize this guy's here.
Sometimes when I can't figure out why my earphones don't work and I feel like a grandpa, then I was like, oh yeah, I'm not a Mac user. And then I start, feeling even better.
I got a Mac so I could feel professional and I'd be better at doing things, and it's only made me realize that I have a complete inability to understand the way of the world and how technology works. And for the past hour and a half, everything in my life has been breaking, and I don't know how to use it. I don't know how to conform to everything that is the way of the future, how everyone's going to be using technology, and I don't want to have to learn because I feel like it's a negative way to live your life, and it's just I'm going to have to eventually figure out how to use the space bar and the control bar and the enter key and all the other ones and all the buttons and what they do, and I just want to smash a table right now, and this is the most energy you're going to see out of me during the rest of this podcast because I'm burnt out.
This is coming from Local 6 News. Former youngster, now turned grandpa. We'll cut it back to Leo.
I've been a grandpa my entire goddamn life, and I'm only going to get older. I'm going to die when I'm 27 years old.
Go to a senior center and take a technology literacy test. That's it. That's all you got to do.
All I'm going to be able to leave behind when I'm dead is computers that I didn't know how to use. People are going to come into my house and see my possessions, and it's going to be a PS4 with like 50 video games that were never played, a Chromebook that has no apps installed on it, and a MacBook that has Discord still installing.
To give some background, before we were trying to set up, Silas's entire anything was just not working. He can't use Discord to his mic wasn't working or whatever, and then so he tried moving to a Chromebook from his Mac, and then that didn't work either.
To reiterate, I'm Silas, the one that also has the worst microphone.
It's not bad. It's not bad, but
I've listened to the podcast. It's the worst one.
It sounds okay right now, actually.
It's okay, but yeah. But it's whatever. But yeah, so that's a little background. We were having some technical difficulties behind the scenes, but we're here now. We're doing the things with the voices.
You can hear it. It sucks. It's gonna suck.
Quit bitching about your microphone. You sound fine.
All right, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. It's a little kiss for you.
All right, first topic.
You
Let's
earned
do
it.
it.
Why did you do that?
I'll crank out some of those would you rather questions.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I was thinking we do those towards the end, but thanks for just fucking up my structure
we didn't
here.
ask Lucas how he's doing.
That's what I was
true.
trying to ask, man. All right,
Good
Lucas.
point.
Let's take the spotlight to Lucas.
Okay.
You're
Oh, do you
Lucas.
want me to say what I'm
Spotlight's on
doing?
you.
You're
Okay,
Lucas. Start
okay.
talking.
I'm Lucas. I do school. I'm getting ready to finish the sophomore year, just like everyone else in here. And
We didn't ask for an
I'm very stressed.
autobiography. We asked how you were doing.
Oh, I'm doing terrible. I'm very
Oh.
stressed out.
Okay. I mean, that's
Why?
how it is. We started
Also,
school.
It's terrible. School?
Yeah, I have to make decisions about my future that I'm not ready for.
Having daddy issues lately.
Nah, my dad's pretty cool.
Mommy issues.
My mom's pretty nice.
Because I know I got some issues with someone's mommy.
Who would that be?
It's a little.
You want to put it down for the record? Whose mom you having issues with?
I think you know, Leo.
Would I now?
Yeah, would you?
Do the people listening to this
Would
know?
I don't know, probably not. But Leo's
Who
mom
is
is very
grinding
hot.
a mortar and pestle in the background?
Gorman likes Leo's mom.
Leo's mom is pretty dang cute.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you think? Like, I don't know. All right, we're moving on. This is weird. I didn't expect it to be this weird.
I didn't expect you to start the podcast by asking me what I would do if I were shot in the chest.
Well, I mean,
Because-
I did ask beforehand how good are at improv, and you just kind
Yeah,
of.
and then you cut me off, and I was trying to explain to you, not really.
Well, suck, don't it?
Yeah, I guess. So, what's going on? Gorman, how are you doing?
What are we doing?
Yeah, how are you doing these days, Gorman? How are you feeling?
Oh,
How's life been treating you?
This
What do
isn't a
you
good way
do?
to start. You shouldn't start a podcast by asking people how they're doing.
I think that's the perfect way to do it, especially since we've been gone for like almost 2 months. But anyway,
But
Yeah,
how
it's-
are you
it's
doing? Yeah, but Gorman, how are you doing?
so like if you can imagine a chalupa, but like it's been out for 2 hours, that's how I feel. Like it's
What the hell's
kind
a
of good.
chalupa?
Like if you eat it, it's like okay, it's all right, but it could be better. Because yeah,
What's
the
a
sun.
chalupa?
I've been really enjoying the sun for the past 4 days, and then the last day that it was sunny outside, I came inside, sat on my bed, and realized, oh, it's gonna be fucking raining for a week now. And I laid down for 3 hours.
What's a chalupa?
A chalupa is one of my favorite items from Taco Bell that I haven't had in like almost a year.
What's it composed of?
It's like
what's going on?
it's like this. It's not a tortilla. It's like a. I have no idea what the fuck we're supposed to. This is a disaster.
Describe what a burrito is. Fucking put to words what fucking meat and tortilla is.
This is so fucking rough. We're so.
So you were trying to explain how this is a good way to start a podcast, and right afterwards, we're talking about what a fucking burrito is. You trying to explain yourself, dude.
Dude, we're rusty. We're rusty.
Every other one and it sucks. You should start talking.
That's
Do you have the would you rather questions? do those. We need something to lean on.
Let's talk about
Save it.
like a
Save the
specific
podcast.
sport or a thing. Like there's a thing to talk about. Like I went to the zoo today. Would you rather talk about the zoo or talk about would you rather?
Would you rather?
Okay.
And then
yes,
the zoo.
yes. Let's do it.
Spit it out.
Oh my god. Oh.
This is the rockiest start we've ever had.
It is. It really is.
Because we don't have any. What? Someone tell a story or something.
Do you have would you rather questions?
I'm looking. Shut up! I have them right here. Would you rather have finger-sized nipples or nipple-sized fingers?
Did you Google top 10 most frequently asked would you rather questions? Okay, say it again. Say it again.
Say it!
Say the words.
Would you rather have finger-sized nipples or nipple-sized fingers?
That's a hard one.
I think finger-sized nipples.
Yeah.
Could you move them? Are they opposable? Could you...
Ooh, okay.
Oh, like they're not actual fingers, though. They're just nipples.
They're just finger length, so they're like sagging down
Uh-huh.
at a finger's length.
But like my boobs aren't finger length, just
built-in nipple tassels.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I don't have to put on any bra or anything. I can just have tassels on my boobs. That's great.
And also, nipple-sized fingers is like,
you can't do anything.
You can't do, yeah.
That is assuming that my nipples are small, though.
Yeah,
this is true, yeah.
But yeah, I'm in agreement with Leo.
Yeah. Finger-sized nipples, totally.
All right. Very cool.
Got any more?
Honestly, okay. That's all I had.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
On Google.
What kind of host are you?
I'm a brown one.
What the fuck?
I'm the most eligible because, you know.
All right. Silas, what'd you see at the zoo? How was it?
At the zoo.
I'm kind of contemplating restarting this.
Mutiny. I'm taking charge. How was the zoo, Silas?
The zoo was good. There was COVID restrictions, so there was less people there than normal, which was actually nice. It's kind of just cool going to the zoo with less people there anyways. And a lot of the stuff was shut down. And it was raining when we first got there. It got better, though. But main takeaway, my mom bought me a lemonade with a cup that looks like a giraffe and called me Woo Woo Bear in front of a crowd of people. And that was cool. It you guys can't see, but it is colored to have the pattern of a giraffe on it, and it has a giraffe's head. And I felt like a toddler the entire time walking around with a giraffe cup.
Wait, what was your favorite part of the zoo, though? Like, what was your favorite animal?
My favorite animal was, I don't know, the elephants are cool. The elephant enclosure is cool now. But, like, my main thing when I was at the zoo, I was looking at the animals and I was thinking, oh man, I have more of a connection to looking at animals on a TV with, like, professional camera angles and up close than I do to looking at an elephant 20 feet away from me. Like, this is real. Like, what I'm looking at is real, and that's an animal that lives in an exotic location. I was like, who gives a shit? This is stupid. Unless it can kill me right now, I don't feel anything. Unless this is Jurassic Park and it's about to break out of its cage and try and claw me to death, like, I don't feel anything. And I'm also like, we're looking at ducks in the zoo? This is fucking stupid.
We have ducks in the lake.
Yeah, have you guys been to the zoo lately? Because I feel like not every time I go there, but now when I go there, it's just like, I don't care about looking at animals anymore. This is stupid.
I've never been to the zoo because, like, my parents have always seen it as, like, one of those things where it's like, those animals probably aren't happy right now. So I've never been taken to one, and I don't think I'll ever want to go to one just because of what you said. It is kind of boring. Like, oh, there's an elephant. That's cool, I guess.
It's kind of cool if there's, like, stuff you've never seen, but it is a cool experience. It's fun. But then, I don't know, I think just growing cold to things, or not cold to things, but I don't know what the word would be, which is a great problem to have when you're trying to record a fucking speech session. What's it called? I don't know.
A different view, a different perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, you just have this perspective. You've already seen so much stuff on TV. You become kind of numb to, like, jarring experiences, like seeing a wild animal in person.
I can see, like, if you're, like, 18, if it's 1890, you've never seen an animal bigger than a rabbit, you live in Ohio, and there's just, like, a ringling circus comes to town, and bam, elephants and tigers and stuff. I can see how that's amazing. But, like, zoos in modern times, since information is infinitely available or whatever, there's no reason to go to the zoo other than just to look at cool stuff. And it's not that cool anymore. So.
Yeah, I felt that way about like concerts and stuff when I was younger. I never wanted to go to concerts and I never wanted to travel because I was like, I can listen to music on my phone and I can look at pictures of shit on my computer. I don't need to go anywhere. But now I like going places and I like going to concerts. So I don't know why I feel that way specifically about the zoo.
Maybe there's time periods. Maybe everyone likes zoos when they're kids, but doesn't like concerts. And they like concerts when they're adults and don't like zoos anymore. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm still trying to think of this goddamn word.
I went to the Honolulu Zoo in like early 2020 before COVID and all that. I enjoyed myself pretty thoroughly. It was pretty fun. I saw a lot of monkeys, which is, it's kind of weird because they're just like human-sized hairy things that have similar features and are just, being human-y. But they're behind a moat in a cage, so it's just weird.
Yeah, it is a weird thing. And the word I was thinking of was desensitized. You become like desensitized to things like just things that are supposed to amaze you.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Speaking of monkeys, I don't have any stories, but I was gonna say, speaking of monkeys, what about them dream stands, huh? Right? Right, guys?
Yeah. Leo, you made a video about dudes who are into Minecraft dudes.
It's not really usually dudes, it's usually women.
Well, I say dudes.
Oh, okay.
Dudes is a gender neutral term.
Right. Dudes is a gender neutral term. That's crazy though.
Unless you were like talking about, well, there's chicks and there's dudes. Dude.
It's just crazy that it's such a like I've talked about this before. I've started using Twitter out of bad habit recently, and you go onto the trending page and it's literally some hashtag that involves dream. Like, I just find it so fucking crazy that fandom is so prominent that it is like the top story on Twitter. So like random grandpas and grandmas. I think so. Yeah. And so that means like random grandmas and grandpas are seeing like hashtag dream farted in a cup on stream and like
is that a real thing?
I don't know, probably.
Well, I'm on Twitter right now and the top thing is called Tales from the SMP. And
yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That is
right now it's just pictures and fan art of the stuff happening.
It's just crazy how like people who play Minecraft, who just so happen to be cute, quirky boys, can get on international trending Twitter, like where people can see shit, and like it's just insane that it gets that big.
Yeah, but like Twitter's a website that predominantly is for news and political discussion.
Yeah, it's weird. It's so weird that it evolved into that. It's like I'd imagine these people would be using something like Amino, but it's Twitter.
Yeah, something where it's like a more like a Reddit, like a
Reddit more
subgroup.
dedicated.
Yeah, not just taking over the website for just general conversation about whatever.
It's almost like an infestation, because in some cases they can be really bad for some people. Like, you might get canceled and lose your job type bad.
What do you mean, for talking about dream SMPs?
No, just whatever? Like sometimes these Minecraft stands of these certain YouTubers and streamers take it so far to the point where, like, if you say something bad about the streamer, it's like, oh, I'm going to cancel you. What are you, racist? Or I don't know.
Is it really getting to that point?
It has been that point for a while now. I mean, it's pretty insane. Yeah.
What are people saying? Like, how are they justifying it?
They aren't. They just use the nail polish emoji and the sparkle emoji and say period with the T.
I don't even understand how that works or how anyone gets banned.
It's the racism for me, sis.
Well, what are they saying? Racist things? They have to be justifying it if they're saying it's racist. And aren't all those guys white?
No, I don't know. You know, I don't have Twitter, or I had it for like a week, and I saw all the shitty things on there. I'm like, you know, I'm not gonna fall into this rabbit hole. So I kind of
Well, I mean,
just
it's only
left.
shitty if you follow shitty people.
I don't
Well,
know.
actually,
It
I'll
kind of
take that
leaks
back, 'cause
in. It kind of leaks into everything, and it's not just those shitty people. It's like how, it's like you can have a random ass post, and you can have the leaked shitty personalities come into the type of media that you're seeing. And I was like, nope, no, thank you. And the type of things that I'd like to see are kind of filled with those like weird people who just like, okay, sis, you know, period. I just rather not.
Can you speak in less vague terms? Like, what are you trying to follow, and what do you end up seeing instead?
Like, if I follow Minecraft, I'm gonna get a bunch of fucking streamers and like people from those communities in like
Yeah, but why are
mixed
you
in.
trying to fucking follow Minecraft?
So you're looking for more like general Minecraft, not like Minecraft SMP.
Yeah, just
type
general
stuff,
Minecraft.
right?
You know, maybe
Okay.
someone built something cool, or maybe they're, you know, they have a really cool world. And I was like, oh, okay, but it still leaks in somehow, and it's freaking annoying because I don't want to see that. I'm not interested in it.
There's a not interested button.
That's true, but I'd
Yeah,
rather
I
just
think
not
that's
bother
not
in
the fault
total.
of Twitter. I think that's like if you're into hashtag woodworking, and then you see that someone made a birdhouse, you wouldn't be pissed off. It's like, I didn't want to see a birdhouse. I want to see someone make like a glove compartment for their car.
Yeah, the truth is that's just the canon of Minecraft right now. That's just what everybody's interested in. That's what has the most views. That's just what you're gonna see because it's Minecraft, and that's what's popular.
Yeah, which is also kind of stanky sometimes.
I find it weird that you're relating it to like the whole cancel culture thing because I
Well,
feel like
that's
it's
kind of where I
probably
was
the same
going, but then I
people that
got
are
like,
in it, but
that's where I was
from
going.
what I've seen on Twitter, that's not the main purpose. It's just people talking about how much they like the streamers. It's not really that. That's more like when stuff gets political, you know?
Yeah, when stuff, I don't know. I'm pulling shit out of my
Like
ass.
sometimes
at this point,
people,
boys.
I mean, yeah, but like sometimes people do go to somewhat extreme or ridiculous lengths to defend their favorite streamer.
Oh,
I wouldn't say it happens particularly often, but
like
you do see cases of it happening.
An example was like some Moist Critical and Dream had like quote unquote beef, but it really wasn't beef, and they settled it like behind closed doors, and they're totally cool with it. But Dream like stands were like hurling insults and like almost sometimes threats to Moist Critical because they had beef or whatever. I don't. It's like explained it in his video, and I found that really dumb because yeah.
Well, I think that it's not just that. I don't think it's just Minecraft stuff. And maybe this is just me. I don't get YouTube drama. I get that people make money off of it. And part of how they make money off of it is like just dissing other people or whatever. And there's drama and people like the drama. And then whatever vlogs they make, people like for whatever reason. But I mean, for me personally, I don't give a shit about any YouTube personality. I watch YouTube videos all the time. I don't watch like vloggers or people who make reaction videos or specific content creators. I hate the term content creator.
Dude, I fucking hate that word too.
I don't give a shit about it.
It's such a shitty fucking word.
The same with influencer. I hate the word influencer.
I'm almost okay with influencer, but content creator. It's like I create content. Okay, it's like
Cat
such
Jones.
A vague catch-all term that I...
Cat Jones on Twitter said something I really liked, and for paraphrasing it, but it was like, if you make art, love your art enough to never refer to it as content. Like, be specific with what you do. If you're a painter, you're a painter. It's not, I make content. It's so vague. And I feel like content creator was a term created by YouTubers 5 years ago who were embarrassed to tell their friends and family that they made money from making videos for the internet.
Yeah, they make like reaction videos or like shit like that, and
like they didn't want to admit it.
I don't make reaction videos. Don't check out my reaction videos. Check out my content.
Yeah, or like there are certain terms or just totally abused for the longest time, like content and collaborator and collaboration and what was the one you were just saying, Gorman? The influencers and all that shit is just super dumb. I hate the culture of it, and well, I buy into it too, but the shit I prefer isn't to that extent. I don't see why people are into that much cut and dry. It's the same shit over and over.
Like when people say influencer, I'm like, what are you influencing other than your shitty, Supernova or what is it, Fashion Nova brand?
Your fucked up personality and like bang energy.
Bang energy.
Like there are some people out there who are effectively influencers. That's what their job is.
They're just billboards.
Right.
Yeah.
They
Like there
look
are
pretty.
like
People follow them because they look pretty. They get products, and they make people buy them because they are pretty. They have a large audience,
Right.
therefore they influence that audience.
Yeah.
They're just
And
billboards.
There's people who will admit that they follow influencers and shit, but then they'll make fun of the Jersey Shore or the Kardashians, and it's like it's the same exact thing.
yeah.
You're just following an account that has all these other followers, and you make an Instagram account, you start posting selfies, you get enough of a following that you can start saying shit like, check out my new sneakers, and then you get a sponsorship. And you could argue that it's helping people make money, and it does, and for that reason it's cool. And
I mean, I'd say I don't like influencers, but I mean, I don't like ads. It's kind of the same thing.
yeah, it's like people got to make money somehow.
Yeah.
But in like, OnlyFans stuff, it's like, I'm totally cool with that too. Do whatever you want with that. And that's a great way people can make money doing that. But I feel like it's shitty that some people are driven to that point that they have to do stuff like that to make money.
Like sometimes not even driven, just sometimes like lazy enough not to want to pursue an actual career and find the short, easy way, which sometimes is OnlyFans.
I don't think it's necessarily easy the way. I think there's a lot of work you have to put into it to get discovered. But I think a lot of the times, and I don't know, I'm not invested in it, but I think people do it as like a side thing to make extra money where they can, or in between jobs or something. Then it just takes over their main focus.
It's a career. They're fulfilling a need that people want. Something that people want, they're fulfilling it. I'd say that's a career.
Yeah, it is.
It's not a necessarily very long lasting one, but it's a job, and people want to do it because most of the time they probably enjoy it. So.
Yeah, it's not my problem at all. I have like no input because I'm not the one doing it. I just think like, what's your plan in 20 years when you dropped out of like college? You don't have a job. You don't have any like actual skills. If you were doing if you were doing OnlyFans as like your main source of income, you don't have those skills. So in 20 years, when you can't really sell content anymore, what's the plan? So I just get interested in that aspect to see what people would do. Some people are actually smart and actually wait for their OnlyFans to get big enough, start saving, and then they drop it entirely, and then they retire very early.
I wonder how many people out there are actually surviving on OnlyFans. Like 1,000 maybe?
Plenty of people.
I think you just get enough subscriptions. It's also just a completely
I couldn't imagine there could be
market.
more than like 10,000 people that make money off of OnlyFans.
I think. Well, I mean, so if you're a person who subscribes to that stuff, are you subscribing to more than one person? Because I think the part of it is like the intimacy of it, right? Is that there's like a little bit of a back and forth. You like talk with someone, and it's like specifically one person that you're interested on the site. So it's not like you're subscribing to a whole bunch of people, and to have like a $50 monthly bill taken away from your PayPal, $50 every month to like 10 different OnlyFans girls. I don't think that's happening. So. Right. I mean, it's an oversaturated market, and everyone's picking one person to subscribe to. I don't know exactly what the longevity of it or how people are making a living off of it.
It's just it's very weird though, because like I've never known anyone who's used OnlyFans. I've never heard of anyone, real person, who's used OnlyFans. I just wonder legitimately how large is OnlyFans, and how much of it is just people blowing the OnlyFans story out of proportion for the reason that they can get a good story out of it.
You need to go on Twitter more, because almost every girl on Twitter
So it is a very
OnlyFans.
prominent thing.
Oh yes, every like leftist girl
Has an OnlyFans.
Fucking pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
it's surprising, dude.
Okay.
And there's a lot. I've looked at them all. I know. I can tell you their names.
I've done the research. I've compared prices. I'm on a budget.
It's a completely.
I've done some comparison shopping, if you know what I mean.
It's a fine pathway as long as you just completely understand the implications of getting into it.
Yeah, I'm not shitting on it. I mean, like, I want to be a musician or whatever because I'm dumb and I don't want to have to pay attention to things. But I understand that that's not really viable. I mean, if you get that, if like you want to be successful, you're going to have to start with shitty jobs. And then even when you start seeing success, you'll have to have shitty jobs where you can have them. And it's not stable. It's not very convenient thing. But I think that the general attitude towards that in OnlyFans, in the general opinion, is people searching an easy way out, where like people don't want to have to learn something. And people, maybe it used to be like that with music and stuff, but I think that people who want to make art or music are like, this is a pathway. This is what I'm interested in. Other stuff isn't interesting to me, and it's going to be hard, and I recognize that, but I'm willing to try at it. But the thing that I guess with me when I think of OnlyFans are people going, I don't want to go to college or learn a skill and like build a career because my dream is to post pictures of me naked on the internet. Like, people aren't, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like art and music. It's like, this has been my passion since I was a child, and I've like practiced my instrument or whatever. Or I've painted every day of my life, like a different picture. And people are like, I've been taking a selfie every day of my life. You know, I've been buying lingerie for years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that also kind of piques my interest is companies, when you like apply for a job, companies are really good at looking at your background and like looking at your like internet or social footprint on social medias. So I wonder how, when these people who stop doing OnlyFans and actually want to pursue a real career, I wonder how companies look at that. Will they be probably less inclined to hire someone who has an OnlyFans, or more inclined? Because
I think
in a
probably
way,
less inclined because
probably less inclined because you got to look at it
you
like
said, it seems lazy, right?
But
Yeah.
I also kind of just wonder about this too. Is just like, in general, moving forward, will there be kind of a cultural shift where when companies are looking at your internet footprint, they'll be more lenient?
Well,
Because-
I think we're already seeing that, because I think when you learn in school, like, you can't say racist things online. You can't post pictures of you doing non-PC things, which I'm not making a stance on that. But overall, things are leaning more and more left, right? And more progressive.
Mhm.
And like, we don't want to hire people who are doing these things. And sex work in OnlyFans is viewed very positively among liberals and Democrats and like very progressive people. So I think it's 50-50, because I think there's still a lot of conservative business owners and stuff. But I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity for those people who want to get a job if they don't want to do OnlyFans anymore.
But it's also just not like a whole political thing, but more of like a work ethic thing. Because if that was their only work experience up until, let's say, late 20s, then, you know, businesses are going to be like, well, they don't have any experience, or, you know, why didn't they attempt at getting real world skills, in the sense of, why do I want to employ this person? Like, what do they have that stands out among someone else?
John has been working in a janitorial position and doing internships since he was 14. He's been working his ass off, and you have just been selling pictures of yourself on the internet. Who has a better work ethic?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think people are doing it too as like a rejection of having to go to school and learn your craft, and then have to face student loan debt, and then to be rejected from a job you want because it's there's maybe racial problems there, or sexist like discrimination, like you can't get the job you want because of your race, religion, or gender. And people, I think, are throwing the baby out with the bathwater and saying, well, I'm not gonna support these corrupt systems, so I'm gonna just make an OnlyFans. But at the same time, it's like, if you're not, like, things aren't just gonna change all of a sudden, and you're gonna find yourself maybe broke eventually.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to, like, you have to support. You're not supporting these systems just because you have to do it. Like, get an education, get a good, sturdy job. Because, I mean, sorry, that's how it works. It's going to be hard. You have to figure it out. But then you can start poking holes in the system. Like, hey, we need to figure out this shit. Like, why is it so hard for people to get an education, not have debt for the rest of their life? And why is it hard for, like, a black person to get a job when it's owned by when the business is owned by a white man?
Yeah. So it's like, almost in a sense, the way I think about it is, if you, now this doesn't apply for like all people, but like, if you have an OnlyFans and then after a while you stop, after that you become, if you don't pursue anything afterwards that doesn't benefit society, what's the point? I mean, then you don't, I don't know what, like, you're not putting anything into society as if someone who went to school would. Like, you were saying that sometimes people kind of use it to defy the systems of school and or businesses. But it's like, well, if you kind of go the education route, you can understand why that's happening and maybe make a stand for it. Even if you start at the bottom of like a business, sometimes you can inch your way up and then you can start making big changes.
Yeah.
What if someone goes to college? What if someone goes to college and then gets a job in managing in a factory floor that manufactures like a toy, like Legos, right? How is that any more enriching than selling yourself?
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's bad to sell yourself. Be your own businessman. You know, that is a big way of the future, but it's because people are making it that way. I just think, to say, I mean, the way that things seem to work is you get a job and you work. I mean, right? You become, say, a chef, you work in a restaurant, and that's how it works. And you should be able to make a living off of it. And just because you can't make a living off of it doesn't mean that you go, well, fuck work.
Well, that's not how art works, though. Because art works in the way that you make something, you make art, and then people think it's pretty and they buy it, right?
Yeah,
It's the same thing. You know, I mean, that's it. I'd say that's almost as equally as a traditional job as just like the whole get a degree and get a normal job per se, like a trade or manufacturing or something.
Yeah, I agree with that. Though.
It's a weird giant slippery slope, and because I think of the way OnlyFans work, you would have to consider that art because of the way it's spread and people purchase it. Because, you know, it's not a traditional job in the way you're like a hierarchical structure or anything. It's just you're selling something that you make.
It's like you isolate yourself from everything else because you don't really, other than what you buy, you don't really contribute anything to society other than what you're putting out. Which
I think you can argue that for pretty much every job that exists.
I don't know, because if you, like, even going back to the art and musician thing, if you're an art person, you can put your art up in an art gallery, which supports, you know, the people who own the gallery. If you are a musician, you can book places, which helps the people who own the stadium or arena. But if you're an OnlyFans,
just giving them money.
Yeah, and is
that supporting society as humanity as a whole?
Yeah, because everyone uses, or like a large percent of people may use that gallery and or stadium.
They're just using that for food or rent, and
what do you, in your mind, what are you imagining like contributing to society is?
I would say progressing humanity as a whole, not just surviving, but progressing.
Exactly.
What does that look like?
Progressing.
That would be like a person in a scientific job making something better, improving on what we already have.
For example, would a chef not be contributing to society?
I don't know, because
if he let's say works in McDonald's, or maybe in in a chef sense where there's already a set menu that he doesn't have control over, no. But if he's influencing and creating something new with the form, then yeah.
Or I guess if they're like preserving a certain type of food of culture and they're spreading it around, then they're contributing to, I don't know, that, I guess.
I don't know.
Historical preservation.
Yeah,
Because the way I look at it is, it's like, it's such an opinionated thing on what contributing to society is, that no one can say, well, this is contributing to society, well, this isn't. So it's just hard. I just think it's hard to say that, like, certain jobs are contributing to society while others aren't. And so it's hard to say, like, OnlyFans isn't contributing to society. Go get a job as a chef.
Not to dwell on like what I already said or anything, but I guess what I meant, like, contributing to society, I would say is taking the thing that I said before, like discrimination in the workplace, and trying to get rid of that. That's improving society.
That is improving society.
Yeah. So to say, well, there's all these problems in the workplace and debt in how our current systems work, and then to abandon ship and just make something on your own. Not every person can be their own entrepreneur, you know, like not every person can be saying, I make this, so buy that, so I can buy your specific thing. There still has to be businesses where people are cogs in a machine, but to say, fuck it, I'm going to leave that, you aren't helping. There's no one in the workplace now who's fighting for things to get better, because you've denied going, like, I'm not going to go to university because I'm going to get all this debt. That means that there's no one in those universities going, why am I getting all this debt for trying to educate myself? You know, and there's no one in the workplace anymore who's going, why is my boss racist? And, you know?
Yeah. Another, like, example, I guess, is, say, I'll bring it back to the chef thing. If you're a chef and you're a person of color, you could, you know, ultimately, I don't know. Well, fuck, what I'm trying to say. Okay, let me restart this. Say you're a chef and you set up a program where you can educate homeless people on how to cook and how to work in the kitchen. Then you're progressing society forward by helping these people get off the streets, and, you know, then they get some actual skills, and maybe they move on from that job and, you know, continue the cycle. That would be progressing society, because they learned something new, and then, you know, they're more likely to reproduce, and their kids would do the same thing. Maybe not same thing, but like, I don't know. Just something that moves society and yourself forward. There has to be like a balance.
But like
I
Leo
guess.
said, there's literally no way to pinpoint what is moving forward.
Everybody has like their own idea of what self-fulfillment is, because like some guy will go work at a church and like work for God, while one other guy will go work with quantum physics and try and work. It's like,
but you see, actually,
are those guys both equally contributing to society, or are they both equally not?
I don't think we should really be comparing them if they're equal or not. There's like a whole spectrum of like how much you contribute to society. But with the church thing,
oh god,
this
is a slippery slope,
what he's saying.
dude.
But like it's a giant,
because now you need to make
there's
like
no way.
Yeah.
People do what they want to do, and they make themselves happy. The end goal is to be happy and to survive and have kids. That's it.
Yeah, if you can say like the purpose of life is to find yourself in what you're interested in, then progressing life would be within whatever thing you're interested in, trying to advance that.
Like if you're a pastor
like,
oh, good. Sorry.
No, you can go.
If you're like a pastor at a church and you like helping people within the Word of God, then you're more likely to like start charities and contribute to those charities, where those charities will help other people and will help society progress.
Yes, and then within that realm of like that's what your goal in life is to help other people, then you are progressing society in that way. And I think anyone can agree like supporting charities and helping people is like progressing society where everyone can be healthy. But if you're like a physicist or whatever, like you were saying, Leo, if you're like trying to figure out some equation that makes this thing work, hold on, my parents are talking to me. I'll be back.
Okay, well, I guess I'll pick up where you left off. If you're a physicist, like I guess you're progressing that scientifically, in a way, and you're progressing technology. There's like different. I guess you're right. It's a slippery slope. I could say there's different categories and way and in a way you can progress society. You can progress society technologically. You can like do it like culturally. Just so many different ways to do it. I guess
what I'm trying to say is at some point it effectively becomes arbitrary because any person can really find fulfillment in pretty much anything. And it's like, who am I to say that you're not contributing to society?
And so that would mean the problem with the society, if the end goal is to fulfill yourself, there's one thing stopping from people from achieving what they have, and the ability to experience everything that they would want to, or have the opportunity to find self-fulfillment, I would say would probably be the inability to access everything, not having the option to see everything in the world. And the way you see everything in the world these days is money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's money.
Shit. We're coming back to socialism, baby.
Yeah, I'm saying that the problem with society is consumerism. It's consumerism.
Yeah, and I would also argue that saying that anything is arbitrary because it denies progress, or it denies the notion of progress to say, well, on any stance, everyone is right. To say everyone is right means that no one has to think about who they are. Because if,
by the way,
sorry, what
we were just talking about for 20 minutes about the fulfillment of the self and in business and working for the people is of something Karl Marx wrote about. It's called alienation. So, just saying.
God damn.
We march toward our inevitable socialism.
Our IQ is going up, and we're slowly moving towards socialism. That's a bit scary. The more you know.
Nah, capitalism's awesome.
Yeah, capitalism, baby.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I don't know anything about economy or how any of those different systems work.
If capitalism didn't exist, we would not have Furbies, and don't want to live in a world without Furbies. So
yeah, dude.
The stuff too about, I mean, we've been talking about that for a while, and this is kind of related, but even just the idea of everyone creating something, like everyone rejecting working for someone else and just
it just won't work.
Yeah, and it won't work, but it adds a lot of pressure. Like anyone feels like, well, I'm not making anything of myself. I'm just like educating myself so I can go work for someone else. Like we all make music, and we'll go, man, I gotta work on this song, and it adds a lot of pressure because you're like, well, if this is like what I want to do, then like I'm too slow at this. I need to get better. It's a lot of. I feel like a lot of people have accepted, like, I'm just going to work for someone else and I'm going to get an education in this field and I'll fill out my paperwork and go home at the end of the day. But to constantly be like, well, now I have to do this and I have to do this. And how am I going to get above like this other person who's selling themselves? Because if you have a job, it's like, well, you do what your boss told you and then you get a raise or whatever, you get your paycheck. It's steady. But in a constantly changing environment where everyone's competing, it's like, well, now I have to get a leg up on this other guy. And it's just a really harsh mindset to have for yourself.
Yeah. And kind of going, I don't know if this like relates to that, but like back to the OnlyFans thing, right? I just thought about it. I guess it depends on what you do with the money from OnlyFans determines on whether you are contributing to society or not. Because I guess in a little bit of way, if you just spend that money on a house, I guess you're supporting it. But if you have an OnlyFans and you spend all the money on charity, or at least a big part of it on charity, then I guess, yeah, you are contributing to society by selling pictures of yourself. Or it's such a slippery kind of topic. Because Leo's right. It's the lines are very blurry when it comes to, do you contribute to this society or not?
I think just by being a society, we are contributing in the first place. But yeah, I think everyone contributes to society by existing. But I think what should be the question is not who's doing the most; it's who's doing the least.
That's true. Because if we can find out, I don't know.
Because back to socialism, people who do not spend, who only help themselves and not other people, are contributing the least to society, just in general. I think a homeless person is contributing more to society than a person who spends all of their money on like food and materialistic things. You know?
Yeah.
Stimulates the economy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
and then it gives money for that person. It gives money to that person who's working in a kitchen. It keeps them in business, and then they can do whatever they want with money. And it's part of that thing, like everyone's a gear in the machine. But what pisses me off the most, and I don't want to derail it, unless do you have something else to add to that?
No, I just thought we'd kind of bring it back to that.
I was just thinking, like what Leo said before, the idea of like it's arbitrary to argue over it because everyone has their own thoughts on it. It's like that is the idea that's been pissing me off so much over the last year. Is
Dude, me fucking too. Because I go on the yes. Oh my god, yeah.
that anything can be like, well, that person's life is different than mine, and I can see why you would think that. And I mean, I don't know all the facts, and it's hard to know all the facts because not everything everyone says is true. And it's like, well, what does it mean? You can have a different view. And it's like, well, if I don't ever decide, then what's the point? Because then I have no... If I don't have a view of what that means for myself, then what the fuck does it matter?
Yeah.
You know, like I might as well convince myself to be Christian because at least then I'll have solid like values. But the idea that like there's the best way to live your life is never having an shut mind is great because that means you're always going to learn stuff. But then also the idea of like you can learn that everything you believe is wrong is scary. And it's like everything's changing. And I mean, you have to like, can we just agree that this is what we mean when we say these things? And it's like, just there's so much to anything. It's like when anything political happens, I've just in the shower, I'm thinking to myself, like, I can't escape it. I'm trying to argue both sides. And then I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But then you got to think about this. And it's like, well, it's pissing me off that I can't even. Like, it's not a solid answer to
There's
this.
always so many fucking variables. And then there's always people that, like, take your opinion as fact or, like,
But then I get pissed off whenever I'm talking to anyone about politics and they all agree. It's like, why are we talking about these things that we're saying make us angry? Like, we're talking about what Trump said on the news the other day, and we all agree about it, and we're not saying anything new. It's confirmation bias, like we were talking about before.
We all have pretty similar beliefs.
Yeah, but I mean, like, even then, to not add something to the conversation and just be like, wow, isn't Trump an idiot? And be like, yeah. And it's like, oh, why? You're just...
That's what makes me mad. Stephen freaking Colbert. That's what makes me mad.
Yeah, I hate all that shit.
I really don't like that as well. It's like just the closed-mindedness that can come from political views. Like, I understand maybe, for example, Trump may have not, been the greatest to, in many factors, but if you...
I don't think the problem's in the people with that, though. I think that's the system's fault. I think that's the problem there.
Because that's one of the things that makes me the most mad about social media is, so the way it works is when, like, people, whenever someone tells a story on social media, they never give the full story. They always like wrap it up in this tiny, neat little like 3 or 4 word sentence that oversimplifies it and makes it like this, oh, this guy is either completely evil or completely good. When in reality, it's a very complicated situation with a lot of different variables that you need to consider. And when you simplify it into these stupid, simple terms, you make it sound stupid when in reality it's complicated and shit.
Like, but then at the same time, if everything's open-ended and everything has like another angle, then what's the point? It's like, what's the point of learning new things? Because it's like, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much going on. It's like, well, then why do I need to know about this if there's someone else who can argue why it's good? And for them, it's good, but for me, I don't need to give a shit.
It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that thing where it's like you can either let this, like, you have people on the train tracks or whatever, you can either let it hit 5 people you don't know or one of your family members. You got to think about the perspective of like, well, what were his other options? His other options may have been very terrible compared to this one that happened. And like, you got to look at it from all angles, and you can't just, it's just, there's so many different fucking variables that go into it, and you can't just be like,
everything's an extreme.
Yeah. it's just
and I don't want to name drop, and I won't say his name, and because I know he also listens to this. But we had a friend who's I think a Trump supporter. His family voted for Trump because I think his family had ties in the oil business.
yeah.
and voting for Trump would have been beneficial for him. And you can argue, well, Trump does all this bad stuff, and he says that COVID is fake and all this shit, and things are going to get worse if he's voted. Which you can argue with that if that is true or not. But that's like the leftist view about what was going on the time. And then you can also argue, well, for me personally, Trump's going to benefit my family. Am I going to vote against my own interests?
Yeah,
I want my family to do well, but at the same time, you can argue, well, isn't it kind of selfish to vote in your own interests? Yeah, it's good for you, but this is the president of our country. He's not just about your family; it's about everyone. And overall, from the other perspective, it would be, well, this sucks. And it's like, if you can argue both sides, and either way, someone's going to be happy and someone's going to be pissed off. What's the point of fucking doing anything? It's just so tiring.
Yeah, because like for them, Trump benefited them like because their business or whatever. But what if they needed that money for a said sick person, and like they were like, if someone else is elected, this person in our family is gonna die, and I kind of don't want that.
Yeah.
Why do they have to pay money or have special needs to pay for someone to just live in general? Why is that a thing? It's all just goes back around and around and around.
Yeah. I didn't mean to call that person out, but if you're listening to this, you know who you are.
Fuck
Shout out
you.
to the homie.
Love you, babe.
We love you.
Shout out.
Shout out.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Oh,
Still love you though. Bye bye.
Yep.
Well, his name is. Never mind. I
Cut
was
that
talking
out.
about. Talking about a lot of political stuff today.
Yeah, it's a good. We started off a bit rocky.
It was pretty incoherent.
It was very, especially at the beginning. Wow, I must say.
Dude, that beginning is going to be legendary to listen to.
Especially if you keep in that beginning part where I was like, well, just talk about whatever. And then you're like, well, I was watching Ben 10. Oh, yeah. Well, I jacked off. And, well, I was wearing these shoes and they sucked. And then I went to the store.
Man, imagine you're in a bank robbery and you're.
And then imagine a
butler
cheesy
shot you
beef
in the dick.
quesadito. Yeah. Well,
So what is it, Chalupa though?
well. Anyways, I
What?
think we should wrap up. It's about an hour. I don't want this to be a super long episode. We got some solid topics in. We got in a solid conversation.
We got some not so solid topics in.
Some not so solid topics. A little bit of a rocky start, might I add. But yeah, this is.
If you can cut the podcast so the back half plays first and then the first half plays last, that would be better.
Yeah. Well, this is the Incoherent Podcast. Yeah, like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, you gamers, if you made it this far into the podcast.
Save to watch later if you didn't finish.
Yeah, save.
Share.
If they didn't finish, they wouldn't have gotten to this point.
Share. Hey, trolls. Don't.
Oh, you're right.
Share it to
If
Instagram.
you skip to the end, you are terrible. I hate you.
Well,
Share it to Twitter. Retweet.
tell your friends.
Like.
Tell your friends and family if you enjoyed it.
Give them a
We're
double
so
twisted
short
gawk in the
now.
back of a theater. Scratch your
Give your
nuts if
little
you got
brother a
them.
noogie.
Play it on a Bluetooth speaker on the back of the bus while you're driving to school, and when someone tells you to stop, be like, "Oh, you like it?"
Walk down the street with this blaring at maximum volume.
Go on a hike and have this playing in your pocket.
If you're listening to this, scream something. I don't know.
If you're listening to this, drop your pants.
If you're listening to this, you're listening to this. Good job. But yeah, thank you for listening to the Incoherent Podcast. Bye.
Bye.